So today's review is also going to be from the Kerosene line, from which I've done another review of that with Unknown Pleasures. But this review in particular it's called Follow. So there's Follow and there's Followed. This one's just Follow. And it's apparently a coffee scent, which I'm interested in because there's not too many coffee scents out there. And it's unisex, and it came out in 2016. So relatively modern coffee scent. Put some on and see what the big deal is. And okay, immediately, this is the most coffee smelling fragrance I've smelled so far. One of the other coffee scents that I've smelled, which was, I think it's from Montal, I think it was called Cafe something, that actually didn't smell too much like coffee. This smells like coffee. Specifically, it's coffee mixed with some sweeter notes. So this is a unisex fragrance. The main notes, there's not too many notes. There's roasted coffee, vanilla beans, maple sap, tonka beans, amber, and benzoin. So those are the main notes for the whole fragrance. Not really separated into top, middle, and base notes, but the thing that I get most of all, at least when I smell it, the first thing that I'm reminded of is tiramisu. If you've ever had tiramisu, which is a nice kind of layered dessert, this smells very similar to that. At least in the opening. It becomes a little bit warmer now that it settles down, but in the opening, for sure, it smells very similar to tiramisu, which is like this layered, there's cream and there's ladyfingers and then there's coffee kind of infused into it. Delicious. This smells, very, very similar to that. So the coffee note, like I said before, is extremely strong. It is kind of just the main note going out there, which I like because, as I said before, I mean, there are some other coffee fragrances out there, but I say that kind of a lot of them aren't actually that, they don't smell very much like coffee, just more of a background note. This smells like coffee, which is, it delivers. Now, the vanilla is also pretty strong. It really, follows along with that coffee note. It's like you added some vanilla creamer to your coffee for that, lighten it up a little bit. Now, the maple sap, that's probably just the more sugary note. Interestingly, this is not as sweet as I thought it would be. Because I've seen some reviews saying, oh, this is a pretty sweet gourmand type of fragrance. It is sweet, but not nearly as sweet as, like the other fragrance from Kerosene, Unknown Pleasures, that was pretty sweet. This is more just a kind of more moderate type of sweetness from the vanilla and the maple sap, and I would say the maple sap alone is actually a pretty weak note. It's not like this sticky, sugary, almost gross type of sugar note. It's more just like in the background, which I appreciate, so it's not just too crazy with that sugar. Then, there is a certain warmth to it, a certain heaviness to it, so I'm thinking probably that tonka bean is coming in, along with the amber, coming in, warming it up a little bit, giving it a more toasty, warm, heavy type of scent. The benzoin, not so much. When I think of benzoin, I think of something pretty resinous, maybe something similar to incense, a little more exotic. I would say the benzoin, at least compared to the amber note, is actually pretty weak, doesn't come through that much. Mainly the strong, heavy notes here are the tonka bean and the amber. But there is, the amber does give it a certain resinous nature, which counteracts, the heaviness of the coffee. Now, overall, I would say this is a pretty strong fragrance. I would say probably, in terms of longevity, probably around 7 hours. Not crazy, but definitely, it's going to last a while. And in terms of projection, moderate to, above average. People will definitely notice when you're wearing this. This is a very, very unique smelling fragrance just on its own. So that'll automatically make it more noticeable. And then besides that, just its general strength makes it easy also to notice, whether you're in a group of people, walking down the street, that sort of thing. So definitely a super noticeable fragrance. Coffee forward, has a little bit of sweetness from the vanilla, and in terms of its unisex capabilities, because it is designed for men and women, I would say it is a pretty good unisex option, especially for those who like coffee notes. And I said in my other Kerosene review with Unknown Pleasures, which was also unisex, it was a bit too sweet, I would say, to be just for, the average man. This is really perfectly in the middle, I would say, in terms of sweetness. Because I don't really think it's all that sweet. I mean, there is some of that sweetness, like I said, from the vanilla. It kind of gives you like a coffee creamer sort of smell to it. But in general, it's not really sugary sweet. It really just smells like a normal cup of coffee, some sugar, some creamer, very balanced cup of coffee, which I think is nice. It's actually a very cozy type of scent. I could see this being a really nice winter fragrance, just because it has that certain warmth to it, has that roasted, toasted coffee note, very, very warm, kind of a comforting sort of scent, definitely. And as I said before, it's just unique because there are plenty of coffee fragrances, but they don't really go full coffee forward. Because this not only has a good coffee opening, but it continues to have that coffee note. Because a lot of other fragrances, they're gonna either just have the opening and then that coffee note disappears, or the coffee note's just really faint, it's more in the background, nothing spectacular. This does the full coffee. It really commits to it. So if you know that you really like coffee scents, then this is a really good option. Just because it's really true to the authentic, real smell of coffee beans, which is a pretty hard thing to do. It doesn't smell synthetic. To me, it smells very, very natural, very warm and toasty, which overall is really nice. I also like that it performs well. It's not going to just fade out within the first hour. It really sticks to your skin. And more than anything, I like that it's not too crazy sweet, because when I saw the maple syrup, maple sap note, I was thinking, all right, this is going to be kind of sticky, sugary, saccharine, too much. Not at all. This is actually very, very well balanced with that little bit of sweetness, plus the toastiness of the coffee, then a little bit of the amber and the tonka bean. So overall, super well balanced, way more balanced than I thought it was going to be. And I pretty much don't have anything bad to say about this fragrance. So that is pretty much my review for Kerosene Follow from the Ministry of Scent. If you found this video helpful, then of course you can leave a like and maybe subscribe. And I make a few videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.